Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you, and no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day as we continue our coverage from New Orleans in the lead up to Super Bowl 59. Coming up here on today's show, I have some takeaways from opening night last night at the Superdome. Eagles, Chiefs, meeting with so many people from the media from all across the world. I have 5 things that this Eagles offense must do to take down the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 59, and the big rumor outside of this game between the Eagles and the Chiefs. Could Howie Roseman pull the trigger on a Myles Garrett trade? It's all coming your way, but first, we will be going live later on today, myself and producer Chip, right here on Eagles Now. Show gets underway at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, and as you can see with the digits on your screen here, we are just 18 people away from 106,000 subscribers right here on the channel. What I'm about to do, go interview a bunch of Eagles players and coaches, and then on our live show, we will be playing all of those interviews. You don't want to miss it. We're going to be going live from the Airbnb so that we can get a little bit rowdy. We have some Jell-O shots and Jell-O syringes from Bourbon Street. We're willing to take those down, and who knows? If somebody sends in a big-time super chat, I might jump inside the Airbnb pool. You never know. All right, opening night takeaways here. Let's begin with some Eagles injury news. I talked about this a little bit last night on the recap from the playing surface of where this game will be taking place at the Superdome. But for those of you who missed it, the health of Cam Jurgens, obviously a big storyline in this game. The Pro Bowl center, who did a great job in replacing Jason Kelce, an all-time Eagles legend, injured his back in the divisional round against the Los Angeles Rams. Did not start against the Commanders in the NFC Championship game. He was active, though. Then Landon Dickerson, who moved over from left guard to center, injured his knee, so Jurgens had to finish the game in that second half. He wasn't willing to say whether or not he was going to play definitively against Kansas City, but he did say something that was pretty notable with a smile on his face. He said, "I'm not going to expand on injuries. I am feeling a lot better than I was a week ago. Shout out to our training staff. But I am here doing media sessions with all of you," and he was standing there for about an hour. So if Jurgens' back was in a position where it was going to keep him out of this game, he would have been standing, getting interviewed by hundreds of people for about an hour last night. And then there is Landon Dickerson, who was walking around the Superdome, rocking some shades. Him and Cam Jurgens, they both seem to be in good spirits, and Dickerson was moving around well with that knee injury. Of course, it's a little bit different with Jurgens' back and Dickerson's knee, just walking around, speaking, talking to people as compared to having to engage in blocks with the likes of Chris Jones. But I would be very surprised if the Eagles center and Cam Jurgens, left guard Landon Dickerson, did not play in this game. And a big matchup for Philadelphia against Kansas City, their interior offensive line, run blocking, pass blocking against the Chiefs' interior defensive line. Opening night takeaway number 3. What stands out about this Eagles team, they have a lot of stars, and obviously with all of the Eagles' success since 2001, 4 Super Bowl appearances, 8 NFC Championship games, they are a primetime draw. Their fans travel everywhere. 4th largest media market, an iconic brand all across America, but worldwide as well. But they also have so much star power, and on opening night, everybody pretty much is allowed to interview players and coaches on the field. International media outlets, domestic outlets, just all types of people are there asking all these questions. And so you can tell when all these international folks are lining up to talk to Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley that they are very popular, not just in America, but also worldwide. And what was also pretty notable, the world loves Cooper DeJean. Look, I know it's very rare that a white cornerback is successful at the NFL level, but Cooper DeJean, with the personality that he has, the exciting whites movement that I asked Reed Blankenship about, and his overall play, the truck stick against Derrick Henry, which went viral, how since he was inserted into the lineup coming out of the bye week, the Eagles defense became the #1 overall defense in the National Football League. He played a huge role in that. His popularity is growing as well. So when you think about the Chiefs, yeah, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, Andy Reid, there's a large following there. They're going for 3 Super Bowl championships in a row, but Philadelphia is a likable, very popular team as well. Lastly, I think this Eagles team in Super Bowl 59 is much better prepared for this moment for the stage for this game as compared to Super Bowl 57. A lot of the Eagles players from that roster 2 years ago were not on the team in 2017 when they knocked off Tom Brady and Bill Belichick to win their first Lombardi trophy in Super Bowl 52 in franchise history. And A.J. Brown talked about this the other day. There are so many distractions outside of the game, so many obligations and things that you have to do outside of preparing to play in the Super Bowl. And he had kind of said, it's almost like you're putting more into that as compared to your game preparations. It's no longer going to happen with this Eagles team. So he's talked about that. Lane Johnson has talked about how the Eagles have to make adjustments better during the longer halftime. It's 30 minutes instead of 15. I think the Eagles are going to be better equipped in that regard. And then I was around Nick Sirianni's booth for a while, and he said, yeah, that experience from a couple of years ago is going to do wonders and benefit us going into Sunday. And that's everything from walkthrough to preparation to managing things to making in-game decisions. And so I think this Eagles team is more talented than they were in 2022, better prepared for this stage, and that is important because this Chiefs team, you can tell, they walk around with swagger, confidence. They are the two-time defending champs. They talk like it. They act like it. This stage and the bright lights, it's nothing new to them, and now it's nothing new to the Philadelphia Eagles as well, but that was not the case a couple of years ago. Before we continue to move forward on today's show, I want to know, where will you be watching Super Bowl 59 from? Myself and Chip will be back in the Chat Sports studios for a watch party. We did more than 700,000 views for the NFC Championship game. I'm shooting for 1 million, maybe even 2 million right here on the channel. That's why you subscribe. But in the meantime, let us know where you will be watching the Super Bowl from. Next up, the Eagles offense must do these 5 things in order to beat the Chiefs on Sunday. Number 1, first and foremost, find success on the ground. The Chiefs are a top 10 rushing defense. They are inside the top 10 in yards per rush given up and rushing yards given up per game. I think there's a benchmarker here. If Saquon Barkley runs for 100-plus yards, which has been easy doing for him and the Eagles offensive line this year, I think the Eagles win. If the Chiefs hold Saquon to under 100 yards, I think they win. They have the best offensive line in football. Saquon Barkley is the MVP of the league, even though it's going to go to Lamar Jackson. He's going to be the NFL Offensive Player of the Year. He is a game changer and a game wrecker, and he can win this game and put the Eagles offense on his back. Number 2, I want to see Kellen Moore execute and prepare for the Chiefs and have a game plan devised like he had against the Washington Commanders. You knew that Dan Quinn was going to be aggressive with his blitzes. You knew that Dan Quinn and the Commanders were going to load up the box to try to stop the run. And so how did Kellen Moore, Nick Sirianni, and Jalen Hurts counter that? Jalen Hurts got the ball out of his hands very quick. They put Jalen Hurts on the move. They gave him easy, quick reads so that he could find a rhythm, find his confidence, find a groove. They used his mobility, his agility, and athleticism to their advantage, running it, but also using his legs to create plays through the air. And against this very aggressive Chiefs defense, which is also very good on the back end like they are up front, I think that's going to be important. Number 3, speaking of this Chiefs defense, big plays of the game, 3rd down, 4th down, in the red zone, when there's a sense to change the momentum, when Spags senses and smells some blood, you know that he is going to draw up an exotic, creative blitz. This Eagles offensive line has to communicate. They have to have their slides and protections in order. Jalen Hurts has to know where the blitz is coming from. Kellen Moore has to give him play calls where there's an outlet to beat the blitz. Maybe you can draw up some delayed runs as well, which can help you against that blitz attack as well. But the Eagles have to be ready for the exotic, creative, well-known, and kind of historic Steve Spagnuolo blitz calls, because they can change the game. And if you don't have answers, Kansas City will confuse you. They will sack you. You will be prone to turning the football over, and Kansas City can win their 3rd ring in a row. And then lastly, the Eagles have to come through in all of these money key areas. Can't turn the football over. The Chiefs have won 17 straight one-score games. When they smell blood, they take advantage of that shift in momentum. If you leave points off the scoreboard, they will certainly take advantage of that. Points are going to be at a premium. You just can't turn the football over. One of the big differences of Super Bowl 57, the Nick Bolton scoop and score on Jalen Hurts. If that's not a touchdown play right there for Kansas City, that game could have resulted in an Eagles win. Eagles have to come through on third downs to keep the chains moving, keep that Chiefs offense off the field, and you got to come through in the red zone. The difference between 3 points and 7 points is massive in any football game, especially against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. The Eagles have a lot to lean on offensively here. If Hurts can play like he did against Washington, that makes the Eagles offense multiple. They're so hard to stop, and they have a great offensive line and skill position talent. If you were one-dimensional, it makes you easier to stop. If the Eagles are playing up to their standard, a diverse, versatile offensive attack, they can beat and take down this Spags-led Chiefs defense. Which brings me to this point. I think Devontae Smith in Super Bowl 59 against the Chiefs is in line for a big game. He could be a go-to weapon for Jalen Hurts in the pass game against this Chiefs defense because he has fared very well against Steve Spagnuolo in the past. In the 3 games against the Chiefs-led Spags defenses, Devontae Smith has put up, in all of those games, 7 catches for 122 yards, 7 catches for 100, and 6 catches for 99. A lot of the focus is going to be on Saquon Barkley and A.J. Brown. So Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert could have ample opportunities in this pass game to make splash plays and huge plays in this game. Look out for Smitty to ball out in the Superdome on Sunday. Still to come here on the show. On the other side, I want to talk about this Myles Garrett trade. You know that Howie Roseman is always star hunting. Could he star hunt for one of the best pass rushers in the game? Stay tuned for that, but first, how about our friends at Game Time, making today's Philadelphia Eagles now possible from Super Bowl Radio Row in the Big Easy, New Orleans. The Chat Sports crew is crushing it. So is Game Time. And if you're coming down here and you want to go to the big game on Sunday between the Eagles and the Chiefs, download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. Game Time specializes in last-minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. And thanks to Game Time Picks, curation makes it easier to find the best seats at the best vantage point without having to go through thousands of different ticketing options. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. You can access tickets from your phone, easily resell your tickets as well. They have flash deals, zone deals, the Game Time guarantee, where if you find a lower price elsewhere, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So one more time, download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS. Terms apply. First purchase only, $20 off. And if you're coming to New Orleans, that is your answer for last-minute tickets at the lowest price guaranteed. We move forward on today's program here. The news across the NFL outside of Eagles-Chiefs on Monday was this report and breaking news from Ian Rappaport that reigning NFL Defensive Player of the Year Myles Garrett has requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns. He released this statement as well, saying, "As a kid dreaming of the NFL, all I focused on was the ultimate goal of winning a Super Bowl, and that goal fuels me today more than ever. My love for the community of Northeast Ohio and the incredible fan base of the Cleveland Browns has made this one of the toughest decisions of my life. These past 8 years have shaped me into the man that I am today. While I've loved calling this city my home, my desire to win and compete on the biggest stages won't allow me to be complacent. The goal was never to go from Cleveland to Canton. It has always been to compete and to win a Super Bowl. With that in mind, in bold, I have requested to be traded from the Cleveland Browns." So could the 29-year-old be on the move? Andrew Berry, the Browns general manager, has been adamant, we do not want to trade away Myles Garrett. But if you're Cleveland, you're going to rebuild, and Garrett's 29, and he's looking for a contract extension. He's going to get a bag, and you have all of these needs all across your roster. Does it make sense to pay an older pass rusher a premium top price when you're not going to be competing for a Super Bowl? And you know that Howie Roseman is always lurking and star hunting, and as soon as he got wind of Myles Garrett requesting a trade, the wheels probably started to move inside the genius head and brain of the Eagles general manager. And how about this? Myles Garrett next team odds. You have the Dallas Cowboys at 4-1. You know that Jerry Jones isn't going to make a move on that. He's way too cheap. The Washington Commanders are a very interesting team. You saw when the Eagles put up a 55-piece against the Commanders in the NFC Championship game. They need to get better on the defensive side of the ball and take advantage of Jaden Daniels being on that rookie contract. The Chiefs, 6-1 odds. Raiders, 7-1. San Francisco 49ers at 8-1. They could pair up Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett. That would be a scary edge rushing duo. And the Philadelphia Eagles, 9-1 odds. Why the Eagles could do it? Howie has always invested heavily into the defensive line. Bryce Huff, who the Eagles gave $34 million in guaranteed money to, has been a miss. I'm not even sure how many snaps he's going to get in Super Bowl 59. Josh Sweat just hired Drew Rosenhaus as his agent. He's going to be a free agent. He could get paid. Philadelphia also has the draft capital this year and in future years. And you know that Howie can always get creative in creating cap space to absorb a cap hit and pay a player to the likes of Myles Garrett. And can you imagine this? A Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, Myles Garrett defensive line, it would arguably be the most disruptive and best defensive line in the National Football League. Sheesh! Garrett's resume, Defensive Player of the Year in 2023, four-time first-team All-Pro from 2020 through 2024, two-time second-team All-Pro, and a six-time Pro Bowler. And even though he's been in the league for a minute, he is still getting it done. Look at how consistent his production has been over the last 4 years. 2021, 16 sacks. 2022, 16 more. 2023 and 2024, 28 sacks combined the last 2 years, 14 apiece. And in 2024, he was second among all defensive ends with the overall Pro Football Focus grade at 92.3, his pass rush grade of 92.8, also second. He was second in hurries with 56, first in pressures with 83, and second in sacks with 14. As for the cap situation here, Spotrac always with the money updates. 2025, $19.8 million non-guaranteed. 2026, $25 million non-guaranteed. Browns would inherit a dead cap charge of $36+ million, but of note, Garrett will be seeking a 4-year, $137 million contract, according to Spotrac. This is also something that I have to pass along. Andrew Berry, Browns general manager, used to be an assistant under Howie Roseman. There's that line of communication. That phone line is open. They know each other well. They could communicate potentially on a trade negotiation. So we round out with this. What say you? Should Howie Roseman trade for Myles Garrett? T for trade, P for pass. Let me know. Join us live later, myself and Chip. It's going to be a party. Can't wait to see you all.